that get them going, do you think, Lynchy?
Well, I mean, he's trying to get his team up and certainly trying to get himself up and into the game. He's going to be a real key figure into the second half. Not to draw the ball on every occasion when they go inside 50, but probably more to the point that draw the defenders from the Swans so that other options open up. I think that's going to be the big thing. Merritt, if he's up there, and certainly Carnices need to kick goals.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tough ground to play sometimes, centre-half forward here. So maybe just a little bit deeper he might need to push just to impact the scoreboard. But the ball use has been pretty ordinary going forward by the Lions.
Into the third quarter then, and that gap is 21 points. Jack gets busy. Jetta hasn't run as much with the footy tonight, been constrained a little by Polkinghorne, but he's had some really important touches. Melcheski, and they're away again, and looking fairly lethal, the Swans. Richards takes the mark. Brisbane have put an extra back. So Reid needs to grab this for the Swans. Couldn't do it. Well done, McKeever.
I think what Jetta's doing a bit more of tonight, Hutto, is just a setting up play early on. His decision-making and his skills have been really solid. He hasn't... He's kicked one goal, but he's had the 10 disposals, and every time he gets it, he looks like he's making the right decision with the football.
Yeah, 7 score involvements, so that says a lot, doesn't it?
Holding Kieran Jack! Holding Kieran Jack, Sydney.
Well, there's another one of those probably unnecessary free kicks in a critical area of the ground as well, probably just short of his capabilities, or just too far. Struggle to get the journey. Now he will.
Passes in to McVeigh. He makes a smart lead. He's had 14 disposals and kicked a goal already. Jared McVeigh.
There's something I've noticed with the Swans over the last decade, Brucey. Very good at that kick from 70 to 45, instead, or even 60 to 45, just so you can have a reasonable shot at goal rather than blazing away.
Yeah, it's a really important kick, that one.
He's aligned himself beautifully with the goals. McVeigh followed through, hit it flush, and they lead by 27.
I think the flip side to that, Al, is I reckon the worst kick you can do is the kick that goes from 65, lands on the goal line and get punched through. I mean, that's probably the most frustrating kick. And even though Kieran didn't gain a lot of meterage, at least he put Macca in scoring. I think you're right. I think Kieran Jack was just a little bit outside his range, and then Macca, Jared McVeigh gets it in his scoring range and kicks a goal. So that's the benefit of just that little 10 or 15 metre kick. It gives your team a chance to score rather than a bomb on the goal line that gets punched through for a point.
Yeah, good build-up from the Swans to get that ball inside 50 and generate a shot at goal from 55 or 50 metres, 45 metres out. And so really good goal, good build-up.
You heard the thump in the middle as they crash on in. Bird laid a good tackle, but not before Redden got them generating some good footy. Rockcliffe handed off to Zorko. Penetrating kick, Shaw just had to stop. Holt at the last moment and was able to get a fist to it. And rather behind.
I think this is the next stage, Al, of the Lions' development. It's about now, you're 26 down. Melcheski's had 16, Kennedy's had 15, McVeigh's had 15, Goods is 13 and 3 goals. It's now up to those young players to respond, to win one-on-one contest. If you're on McVeigh now, you've got to really look to shut him down and win one-on-one battles and get your team going forward. Kennedy the same, Goods was seeing the same. So that's the next stage of their development.
And Melcheski heads for Reid. They both went down. Reid the first to recover. Should be able to pop this through, and does. And that's another one for Reid. That is number 4.
And that, getting the ball in quickly to a one-on-one contest is always really nerve-wracking for a defender. But the problem here was McKeever, that he went under the ball but also went to ground, so it just allowed Sam Reid to get up. So he made the initiated body contact, but he went to ground afterwards, and just Sam Reid waltzed into an open goal. So you must keep the ball in front of you, and certainly you must keep your opponent in front of you in that situation as well. But once you go to ground, it's all over, and that's not a goal that the Brisbane Lions needed.
Yeah, I think, Hutto, you mentioned earlier, when do you make the change? I'd make it now. I'd put Merritt down back now. 4's enough. 4 on a young player early in the third quarter. I think it's now time to put Merritt back.
Not even just for McKeever's sake, but also he's one of the leaders in the group. So go back and really stiffen up the defence and give some leadership down there. Absolutely. I think it'd be a good idea.
Crisp gets worked under the ball by Melcheski. Battled on pretty well. It's out of bounds.
Well, Merritt's had 4 disposals and hasn't kicked a goal, really. And I think now, again, not being critical of Ossie, I probably would have left Merritt, but full credit to Voss. He's got some real reward out of that over the last 5 or 6 weeks. But I think you're right. Now's time to put him back, put Merritt back, stiffen up the fence, and get McKeever out of there.
McVeigh getting busy again. Roberts-Thompson the target this time. Away from Leicester. It's out of bounds.
What we're seeing more often now is inside 50 is just McKeever and Reid.
Yeah.
So it's a one-on-one, as you said.
They've identified it, haven't they? Clearly?
Absolutely, they have clearly. Now, Brisbane are trying to get their extra player back there to give him some support, but they're trying to exploit an inexperienced defender on the last line defence.
Rains left it for Jack. He got it through to Kennedy. He just fashioned a kick out. Back in his direction again. Malcheski, they're penetrated once more. And there wasn't much McKeever could do about that. Reid takes the grab.
No, actually, there's nothing McKeever could do about that whatsoever. It was one-on-one, isolated, a 25-metre pass. Nothing he can do whatsoever. So it doesn't matter whether Daniel Merritt was there or not. It was just really good setup again and understanding the strengths and weaknesses of you and your opposition.
Well, this for 5 goals for Sam Reid. And he's popped it through. What a start to this third quarter by the Swans.
It's also the confidence of your whole group too. I mean, you don't want to destroy McKeever's confidence, because I think you're right. He's got some good... We've already seen enough of him to suggest he could be a good player in AFL. So you don't want to destroy his confidence here. And you don't want to destroy the confidence of your whole group as well. So, and we know Merritt is a great body-on-body player. And I think you're right. Merritt's probably not going to stop that, but he is going to move Merritt. He's going to move Reid to a non-dangerous area when he kicks for goal. You know, I reckon what he said there, we might have to make a move. I think if I read his lips again, I reckon he said we might have to make a move. So, look, he's smart enough to work out what's going on.
Well, Merritt's down in the goal score at the moment. They might be... Well, they're reshuffling a few, but not that one just yet, because they're going to into it again here. Reid not in position that time. McKeever read the drop of the ball quicker and got his fist to it.
Sorry, just on that mentioning about Merritt before, what Merritt will do, Alan, you'll know this. What you'll know is that Merritt will move Reid somewhere that he wants him to go, because he's strong enough to be able to do that. And Merritt can play in front, whereas McKeever's not big enough to play in front at this stage, because Reid will just body him up and go over the top. But Merritt can. Absolutely. So Merritt will force him to an area that he wants him to go.
Canterbury to Bird to Jetta. Big pike out of the square, looking to dump it. Did well enough. Roberts-Thompson on the first battle, but then just lost his footing at the crucial moment. Drummond, Harwood. They're under pressure, though. You can see that was a kick in haste. And that's what happens. And Sydney are all aimless. Richards works the angles. The guiding kick, not such a great one. And they've got time on their side just to try and sort things out. Redden will try and keep it in.
That's a big Falcon right on Stiller in game 100. Redden's just flushed that one straight into Stiller's head. He was pushed in from Mumford, so that's not the way you want to celebrate your
that may appear someone else this weekend, I would suggest.
It might be tomorrow night, I'd suggest. But, a big Falcon.
I'm not sure I've seen one like that before either. It's a big season for the Falcon.
Yeah. Well, the coach tells you to put your head over the ball.
Now Shaw has escaped and put this deep. And just away to the left. Sam Reid, by the way, career best 5 goals. His previous best was just 3. Oh, that's a dangerous kick in. Harwood did well to keep it out of Sydney hands, but not for long. That was solid contact from McKeever on McGlynn.
That's the second bad kick in from that end. In the first quarter, we saw Daniel Rich almost missed his foot. Yeah, but that one, not good.
So the Swans looking very powerful just at the moment. Mumford, Hudson. Well, they knew he had it and had to get it out. They sort of let him. The onus on him to get rid of it, but he's forced the 50-50 and the ball up. 39 points the difference now. Early in this third quarter, they've already kicked 3 goals to nil.
Well, disposal was 32-14, inside 50, 6-1, but it's actually not going out of this inside 50 area for the Swans.
Hanbury squeezed the kick. Pike, as he grabbed it, he's claimed it, and he's been paid.
Well, we talk about Seavey as the second ruckman at the club, but this man is going a long way to being the legitimate second ruckman at the Sydney Swans, because he can mark it forward, which is a massive asset that he's added to his bow.
No doubt, which means you can keep him on the ground longer. He doesn't get outmarked.
And he slots it through. It's first of the night. And Sydney lead now by 45 points. They've slammed on 4 third quarter goals. And Hanbury in amongst it again. Got it in there quickly.
Well, he was on the front foot. He moved forward, and the ball is only going to drop short. If it goes long, it's going to go through for a score. So he's in the right position and just got that extra half a second jump on Drummond. So took a really good mark in the end. So some experience there from the Canadian.
And this is when they really miss Simon Black, because this is a Black clearance waiting to happen. You know, he's the one, Al, that generally turns the tide around, but he's not there. And this is where the young guys have got to learn now. Someone's got to get this clearance for the Brisbane Lions and make sure they get it forward, and it's McVeigh going back the other way.
Well, it's 8 clearances to 3 for the quarter. Right on top around the edges at the moment, the Swans. Adcock fashions it forward. Johnson stole the march on Karnesis, but it goes back to the Brisbane number 28. Here's Jetta. And the crowd, the volume starts to lift. But he got it off to Melcheski, who heads wider in search of Roberts Thompson. Drummond tries to work his way onto a bit of a standoff, a bit of a wrestle. Show of strength from both players. And Hanley's guided that one over the chalk.
Ruzi, is it an opportunity for a team in that sort of situation, centre clearance, to actually not even so much get the ball out yourself, but make sure the opposition doesn't by just locking on and shutting the game down for a few minutes?
You really want a secondary ball up. You don't want them to get forward like McVeigh did.
And McGlynn's got it to Bolton. And then they run into Harwood. McVeigh doing well not to give away the free. You hear the roar of the crowd, and they'll be happy with the umpire's response.
Well, that's what the Brisbane Lions need to do now. Somehow get their hand on the ball and just shut the game down. Just momentum is going a long way against them at the moment.
It's 41 disposals to 15 this quarter.
McVeigh just sets it up. Reid again was in his focus. Jude Bolton made the manoeuvre. High to the square. Buick, uncomfortable wait for him, but he takes the mark.
You do have to shut this point I was trying to make before about the development. The Brisbane Lions players now need to lock onto their direct opponent. But Chesky's had 6, McVeigh's had 6, Jetta's had 5, Jack's had 4. So there's already some big possession winners in this quarter. You've got to get hold of your opponent. You've got to beat him for the next 10 minutes one-on-one. Hanley
angles the kick somewhat dangerously. Goods knows all about putting handballs out in this situation a few weeks ago. Goes searching for Reid, who improvised under the circumstance pretty effectively. Tackle from McVeigh. Made the job more difficult for the Brisbane defence. They're scrambling hard for it. Bolton misses his target. Kennedy, who was going past. There's an argument or two amongst the Swans forwards.
And 30 players down at this end of the ground for this stoppage. So massive players. Need to find one of the Lions.
And something happened out of the bottleneck.
Well, it's 9-1 inside 50, so Brisbane just haven't been able to get the ball forward centre.
And when it goes in, they haven't been able to get it back out either, so not even just to halfway, it just stays in there. Once again, this is a repeat stoppage inside 50 for the Swans. They work this until they can generate that shot.
Merritt to Rich, and he was searching. The eyes were darting until he found a man. Zorko took something off the kick, hoping that Green might be able to run onto it. Comes sliding through. Johnson, Karnesis, Shaw's underneath all of that as well. The Lions at least able to have some sort of control of the footy, not for long. The emerging Melcheski deep. And again, Hanley has had to work overtime in this quarter. Confronted, is able to escape effectively.
Well, Hutto, interestingly, Merritt was the one there contested with Sam Reid. So I'm not sure whether he's still down there as a ruckman, which he was certainly on Pike as a ruckman, but he may have made the switch.
There was good patience shown by Adcock. Harwood got out, but McLean was able to rein him in very quickly. And now Leicester searching handball again backwards for Hanley, really testing out the depth of the skills and the patience and the work ethic of this Brisbane defence at the moment.
So certainly Merritt maybe even gone as the loose man defence just at the moment, but once again we suggest, and they look like they have, got their most experienced defender back there.
Very generous marking decision there.
I don't think there was a...
Rockcliffe, he paid it.
Yeah, he did pay it, you're right. Might have been chopping the arms, but it certainly wasn't a mark.
And he stabbed the kick. You could see his target was Green, swiftly and effectively to Polkinghorne. Thumps the kick to half forward. Grundy. The ball is over and out.
Yeah, even to get some, even
So he's gone onto him.
Yeah, it's a good move. It had to happen. Good move. But even now, just to fashion something out of this stoppage for the Brisbane Lions.
Pike takes front position. Brown. He gave it straight back to Everett. Now Kennedy about to be run down. Realised that. Did his best, but there was nothing there for him, as you could see. As Shaney Stillers in game 100. Spreading it wide for Rains. On the cusp here. Decides to give it to Drummond.
Yours.
There's a lot of height in that. Brown might have got some hands in the back. Yeah, Grundy's footy.
Just hands in the back from Jonathan Brown. But you saw the balk from Drummond didn't want to go in because they were just outnumbered at the drop of the ball. Pike, as a ruckman, was behind the ball. Look out.
Jetta, who's now got Buick as his opponent, just prepared to wait and linger and told to play on, but he says, no, I'm not going to do that till I'm absolutely ready. Until Malcheski came into the space, claims the mark, peers inside, and he saw Reed, but there's nothing else of interest for him yet. Now there's goods. And he's got it. They work their systems pretty effectively there, the Swans.
Yeah, Jetta and Malcheski, their kicking has been terrific today, really good. Every time they've been involved in a passage of play, certainly Jetta's the one that seems to start, and Malcheski's the one that almost seems to finish it with that last kick inside 50. But both, Malcheski's had 8 this quarter, Jetta's had 6 this quarter. They're really up and about, those two.
For a player, Leroy Jetta, who he generates so much excitement with quick ball movement and running, Bruzy, to be able to have the patience and make the right decisions, just be happy to hold it up. It shows great maturity.
Yeah, his decision making tonight's been terrific.
Adam Goods, that looks pretty fair too. It's close. Obviously close. Hits the post, and that's 4 goals, 2 for the quarter for Sydney to just the 1 behind for the Brisbane Lions. And the margin is 46 here at the SCG.
So that's 11-3 inside 50s again. So weighted numbers going inside, and then forward 50 options. Certainly the movement, whether it be Pike, Goods, Sam Reid.
Drummond, Kennedy did the first bit, but not the second. Green stripped of it.
High contact, Brisbane.
A bit of frustration there for Josh Kennedy. Free kick paid. Howard taking it and moving it quickly. Redden on the outside. Next step is Crisp. Nothing for him inside, so down the line he goes. Reece Shaw has eyes for it, but in the end he possibly impeded Grundy from taking the mark. Zorko trying to work it back to Green. Jack was onto that. Smart stuff, and got it released to McVeigh, and then moving now. Richards, up to the call of Hanbury, can spread wider for Big Pike. Merritt should be able to see that off. He did. Effectively down to Hanley. Was about to be wrapped up. Now Merritt can thump it, and they're clear. And can go Leicester down to Karnesis. Instead he goes to Zorko. He goes to Karnesis. Will he play on? He will, and that was a smart decision. Just
it's kicked into the post. A handball to Josh Green. Where's that?
Someone mentioned coach killers before. That is inexcusable.
Well, that'll come up a few times.
That is inexcusable.
Jetta has got Smith, and they've reached half back.
I mentioned Jetta's decision making before. I tell you, Zorko's a good decision maker too. He thinks his way through the footy. For a young player, he very rarely makes a bad decision.
Yeah. Well, he's been around senior football for a few years. I think he's won 3 or 4 club best and fairest at Broadbeach in the AFLQ competition. So a really accomplished player at a senior level.
Hanley to Drummond. There's issues here for Brisbane, and there's Sydney players just sweating and waiting on the outside. They had been able to get clean footy. Still a couple there, but Shaney Stiller has to deal with it. Along the wing, Chris couldn't take the mark. Smith, and they can reset the Swans. Shaw, eyes darting, advances and kicks dangerously. Hanbury might just pop up. Hanley chopped it off. Merritt do look a bit stronger and more steadfast with him down there. Drummond disappeared underneath him, found a hole. Everett, Malcheski gets it sorted, but slams it through for a behind.
Well, they're under siege at the moment, the Lions, because they've got an extra number behind the ball to try to stop the flow from the Swans going inside 50. But when they get it out and when they rebound it back, they're kicking to where they're outnumbered. It's been Reece Shaw that's been dropping off his direct opponent really well at the moment, but we know they've got a number of players that do that side of the game very well.
Yeah, they just don't seem to have a run and carrier, Al, like the Brisbane Lions. That's probably one position they really lack. Just a guy that can run off half-back or wing like a Jetta, like a Rhys Shaw, that can really break the game open.
Well, Hanley's probably the closest to it, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's doing a lot of work really deep in defence at the moment.
And probably the other one over the years, but probably hasn't had the continuity in playing and training, has been Josh Drummond.
Yeah. Is he more of that spot kicker though? Like is he like Kennelly was a runner and Rhys Shaw's a runner?
Yeah, he's probably a really good user.
Really good user of the ball, isn't he? Yeah.
Well, Chesky, he goes looking for Mumford, who was caught unawares by the fact that Stiller was so close in the vicinity. So the margin is 46. 4 goals to 0 in this third term. Rockcliffe. Again, just the 3 possessions for the quarter.
Thanks, Dan.
Redden's found it a little more in this quarter. He has 6 now for the term.
Move on, Plan.
11 for the night for Redden. So they're just happy to maintain possession for a moment, try and regain their composure.
Well, this is this defensive kick that they have. A real umbrella set up, so they bring it out the other side. We just haven't seen it for a half of football, really. The first half of the first term, they set up that really well, so they were bouncing off half-back well, but it's just been void in this latter part of the game.
Been a pretty big month for them too, hasn't it? They look a bit tired today. They're really just, apart from probably a 15-minute period in the first quarter, they've looked really tired. They haven't had a lot of run and sort of carry and a lot of outside stuff. They're certainly still trying hard, but
I reckon those critical errors can be energy sapping as well. If you see the ball bounce back over your head again, you think, geez, we're in a good position there. That can be really draining.
Oh, McKeever got upended after he kicked it. It was all fair in Love and War, said the umpire. And Buick is able to put the ball on the chest of this impressive young man in Zorko.
Well, that's the smart footy brain, knowing where to drop into a usable space without crowding up the forward line, but he managed to sneak forward on his direct opponent.
He's had 22 disposals. This is 23. It's a great effort.
So Zorko, and that's sprayed away to the left.
And let's not forget from Brisbane Lions, the Swans are one of the best teams in the competition.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, they're up and about at the moment. They're really putting good pressure. They've got good continuity across their list. Got their better players back now in Mumford and Goods that have got a bit of football under their belt. So they're well set up at the moment, the Swans.
Well, Malcheski has had 25 disposals tonight for the Swans, so as a late inclusion, has done a wonderful job.
Was it 10 this term?
Yeah.
Shaw to Johnson. Now Goods just gradually found his form over the last couple of weeks after probably coming back a week early. Basically admitted that he hadn't trained at all before the Geelong game and had no effect. In fact, was subbed out. Howard with the collect across half back to Merritt.
Wait there, Jared. Wait there, don't go forward. Wait there.
Back to Howard again.
Wait there, Mike. That's your mark. Don't go forward. Wait there.
So another 17 touches, Howard. After a career best 29 last week. Lobs this one up to the wing. Shaw. Drummond. And that's easy fodder for the Sydney defence. Grundy.
He's so good, and he's one of the best. Grundy just dropping off that contest. He knew he wasn't going to get used. His player was drawn into the contest, so he just dropped back.
Kennedy couldn't quite claim it. Hudson. Brown. About to get clamped, but release Zorko.
I don't think anyone's on Zorko.
No. Carnesis has got Crisp away to his left.
Still, mate.
Could give it to Rich or try and make sure of it himself, which he does. Slots it through. Well done, Jack Crisp.
Yeah, they just started to control the tempo a bit more. It's interesting. Merritt's just made them look a little bit solid down. I mean, there hasn't been any one-on-one contests at the moment, but he's had a couple of possessions and he's been in the right position a couple of times, Merritt, and he's just helped them slow the tempo down and understand, you know, that they have got a big man down there now, and it may even have affected the Swans a little bit with their ball movement also. But well done, they just slowed the game down a bit and got a much-needed goal.
Chris back into the side this week with a few injuries out of last week's game for the Lions, so making the most of his opportunity.
I think they've made the sub, have they, Colby?
They have Clay Beam straight into the middle of the ground and Josh Green having a rest.
All right, back at the coalface.
Probably lucky he's a young fella. He had a half of football about 3 hours ago.
Yeah, that's right. Just an update. Black pulled out in the warm-up, and Beams, who played a half against the Sydney Swans seconds, was pulled out of the seconds game, so he's already played today. Beams, I hope he had the recovery of the ice bath in between the games.
Here's Kennedy. Well, Josh Green was going to be the sub, so he got it in reverse, didn't he? He got to play first 2.5 quarters, and now he's going to sit out the end. Could have been holding the man. Kennedy gets it to Hanbury, and now Jetta can wind up. Stand start more than anything. Goods. Reid will try and get on the end of it as well. Came bouncing off the chest of Patful. That was unfortunate. Everett was in the right place, but nobody kicks it behind.
If we watch that Reid Merritt contest there, if we're able to have a look at that again, we can just see the body strength.
That's right. He just held Sam Reid off the ball.
Yeah. He was able,
long enough so he couldn't get to that contest.
He didn't even get a run and jump at it, Reid, did he? Whereas on McKeever, he would have got a run and jump and potentially taken that mark. And that's the difference between an experienced, big body. What would Merritt be? 105 kilos. That's just the difference.
That's not a great kick on the way out from Adcock. Kennedy wobbles one in. Roberts Thompson had the best run of it. Again, Merritt was in the thick of it. McVeigh to Everett. Had to release it by hand, gave it straight up to Harwood, who just gave it plenty. Try and get it out of there. Never got over it. Zealous there was Leicester.
Wait there, that's your mark. Time back on. Wait there.
Johnson and Jetta sneaks away. And we'll go looking for his second goal of the night.
What was your advice to him, Ruzi, when he was just kicking all those points? Because he was electrifying out in space.
Yep.
What did you say to him during the week?
I used to tell him to keep on going.
Yeah.
Keep on. Actually, the frustrating thing that I did was when he didn't have a shot at goal, he didn't run and carry.
Yeah.
We just wanted him to keep running and carrying, because you can see now what we saw on the tapes and what we expected from him when we recruited him is exactly what he is now. He was a really good ball user. He was a good goal kicker. He was exciting.
Yep.
He was an outside running player. So it was actually quite unusual to see him miss those goals. And we just tried to keep encouraging him to keep running and running and running and running. And you can see now he's just become a really, really important player for them.
I think we were chatting at the time. He's one of those guys you actually want to see nearly get caught with the ball on a number of occasions each week. So he's pushing the boundaries.
I said that to him. I said I'd rather get caught holding the ball rather than just spot kick. He was starting to spot kick it a bit too much.
Yeah.
But you know what I love about Lewis Jetta? It doesn't matter who was he could be the slowest guy in the league chasing him. He'd be half a metre ahead of him. He could have the quickest guy chasing him. He'd still be half a metre ahead of him.
So Goods sends it long. O'Keefe's got the right if he wants it here. He does want it! Why wouldn't you want it like that? From the side, Ryan O'Keefe. He's a very versatile footballer, and that was a lovely grab.
Now, we haven't seen a lot of the really experienced players today, but we know that O'Keefe can go forward and take those sort of marks and goal.
And goal he does.
You're absolutely right, Ali. The good thing today is Jude Bolton, who's had a fantastic year, is 14. Ryan O'Keefe's had a really good year on 13.
Yep.
So it just shows you the depth that they've got. It's a really nice kick to advantage here. I'm not sure whether he picked out. But Ryan O'Keefe, he probably hasn't been that high since about the under 14s or under 15s. But he'd be very, very happy to see that tape during the week.
That is a good jump for an old fella.
It's a nice jump for a 38-year-old.
Very nice.
Is he the sort of bloke that would be reminding his teammates about it at training?
Absolutely. No question about that. He will be very, very happy about that, Pebbles. Very happy about that mark.
17 seconds remaining. A pretty entertaining third term.
Look at the look on Horse's face. He can't believe Pebbles marked it. You see the look of shock on his face.
Might drag him.
Hey?
Might drag him off.
5 goals, 5 to 1-3 for the quarter. 13 seconds to build more, but not this time for Bolton. Stiller impedes it. That'll just about do it. So the Sydney Swans will find themselves on top of the ladder.
Throw this up here. This is just
after this win.
Yeah, they got off to a flying start for the start of the season. The win here tonight, see them on top of the ladder, and they are a genuine chance for this flag this year.
All right, it's three-quarter time, and the locals are very happy with what they have seen. After a slow start, Brisbane kicked the first 3 of the night. Since then, it's been 15 goals to 5. The Swans lead by 47 points, and they've enjoyed highlights like this.
Goods was seeing the same. So that's the next stage of their development.
And Melcheski heads for Reid. They both went down. Reid the first to recover. Should be able to pop this through and does. Back in his direction again. Melcheski, they're penetrated once more. This for 5 goals for Sam Reid. And he's popped it through. What a start to this third quarter by the Swans. And they went on to kick 5 goals, 5 for the quarter. The Lions kicked the first 3 of the night and were impressive. Reid has become a real focus. Career best 5 goals. Adam Goods returning to form. And top spot awaits after a 5 goals, 5 to 1 goal, 3 third quarter. 18 inside 50s to 7. Merritt forced to go down into defence for the Brisbane Lions. So it's Sydney by 47. Lee Colbert's on the job. The former Cat skipper and Roo Star down on the boundary tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Hutto. Well, Michael Voss not a happy man, as expected at 3/4 time. On a positive note, Adam Goods back to fine form. 18 possessions, 3 goals. He's just starting to get scary again. I think he's in for a big last term. He was certainly into all players at 3/4 time, and the superstar, when he gets going, I've got a feeling he might even be able to double his tally and kick 6 goals. 3 more in this term is my prediction.
All right. He's backing him in for a big last term is Lee Colbert, but the Sydney Swans percentage is critical. We know the West Coast Eagles had a narrow victory this afternoon over North Melbourne. At the start of this round, they were above them by 1% on the ladder.
A big win for the Eagles, though, wasn't it, when they were down by 35 points?
To come back as they did, but if they can compound the issue with percentage for the West Coast Eagles here, the Swans have, if they run out 10, 12 goal victors tonight.
Yeah, and the opposite applies for the Lions. They don't want to drop too much percentage because, look, I mean, it's unlikely they're going to play finals this year, but yeah, they still want to stay in the mix.
Yep.
And absolutely, as we spoke pre-game, their previous month has been a really good development month for them. So they don't want to go too far backwards here. They need a really big last quarter.
No, they need to win this last quarter, I suspect, just for the players' psyche moving forward.
Because you
just don't want to lose everything that you've gained over the last month. And I think that's why Vossi would have given a bit of a cook at 3/4 time. Not necessarily specifically about today's game, but it's about, guys, we have made some advances. Let's not really drop. If they get beaten by 70, 80 points today, that's a really, really debilitating loss for them.
Kennedy straight to Jack. Goods. Fisted away, Patfull. Beams is on the ground, as we mentioned. Rain stretching out, kicking it deep. Richards to try and spoil or even mark. He got there late on Brown, possibly impeded him. The umpire said it was okay.
I think Jonathan Brown on that occasion would be a little bit disappointed how close Karnezis was, because he was within 5 metres of Brown. If it was a one-on-one contest, Brown just eats that one. The problem was Richards got off Karnezis and made the spoil.
Absolutely right. You're spot on. Brown had really good position on Grundy. If Karnezis had led forward and taken Richards out of that spot, there's no way known he would have spoiled that, obviously, and Grundy was gone. Yeah,
exactly the same again.
Well, Brownie was still doing his shoes up when that ball came in.
He was, but Karnezis didn't get rid of Richards. How'd they get him out of the space?
Umpire says that Zorko threw it. And so it's Everett's footy as they charge forward. Mumford's a bit of a target here. Got away from Hudson. Could give to McVeigh. Does just that. Skipping through centre half forward. Put it on the plate for Reid, but just maybe a little high. Hanley, just so casually handballed it away. Kennedy happy to wear the tackle from Rains. Go again. Have it straight back up to Hudson. Everett stands his ground. Hard to get around. Redden scrambling hard. Zorko. Jack again slipped it to Mumford. Deep with the kick. Roberts Thompson in the scramble at the square. McKeever's his opponent now. Kennedy takes out Adcock. Kick goes back to McKeever. Jetta screws it back to the top of the square. Kennedy just found the going a little tough against 3 Lions, but it's over and out.
It was dry. Drummond with a good spoil on that occasion.
Now we know the construction or a bit of destruction going on at the moment, but the crane, which obviously is involved in that during the week, just doubles as holding up the scoreboard.
We saw the old scoreboard top right of screen, but yeah, the plasma's been dragged in.
Now that's what I call a plasma.
It's one way to hold up your plasma, isn't it? You got one of them at home, Al?
I know you've got one that size.
Play on.
Reid flew, couldn't take it. Drummond back to the middle, one-on-one. Karnezis and Richards. Richards collecting for Jack. Just a little wayward on the drop.
They're really playing well together, Richards and Grundy, aren't they? We've seen the last 2 or 3 entries to Jonathan Brown. A really good combination. It's one thing having a good key defender, but it's absolutely invaluable to have 2 that work really well together, and they've got a great understanding of what each one is trying to do, and they really help each other out well.
Drummond just caressed the ball in short to Patful. Shakes off Goods.
They've got the number here for the ball. If they can get the ball on quickly.
Redden gritting the teeth to try and do just that. Good link-up work, Beams receiving the handball. Now they're charging. Crisp just outside the 50s. Kicked that pretty comfortably for Brown. Back with the flight. And takes the grab.
That was a really good build-up from the Lions off half-back. They realised they had the spare man, so they drew the Swans player on each occasion. They got to Brown on a one-on-one. He doubled back and was on the end of a very good kick.
And he's given some assistance by the umpire here, which takes him into the goal square. So Jonathan Brown should be able to thread this through for his 2nd goal of the night. It's back to 42 points now.
Yeah, really important goal for the Brisbane Lions. If they're not going to win the game, but if they can get back to sort of 20 points, it becomes an honourable loss. A really good ball movement, nice handball inside, good running here by Crisp. And this is what Brown hasn't been able to get today. And that's a lot of ball over the top, he does that really well. He works his defender up into the play and runs back, but he hasn't been able to get a lot of that today. But he's kept on working, Brownie, as you'd expect him to.
So 2 goals for Jonathan Brown.
Without making too much of an issue of it, one of the really important things there was Karnezis ran at the ball. So he led at the ball, and even though he didn't get used, he stayed on that track. So that was really important. So it allowed that one-on-one.
Craig Bird made the footy his own. Quickly to Goods. He waited and gave to Hanbury, advancing to about 70. Just poked the kick into the pocket. Pike almost was able to claim it, but he can't. It's going to be a ball up.
There's a match-up for the multicultural round last week. McKeever, the Irishman, up against the Canadian. Both coming along nicely in their developing AFL careers.
It's Joey Kennedy getting Robbie's had another terrific game again. 24, 10 kicks, 14 handballs. Another fantastic game. He's had a great season so far.
Rockcliffe was claimed. They takes the mark. And it's a very busy forward 50 for Sydney.
That's your mark. Wait there, Pierce. Play on.
Goods sets it up. Reed's in front. And again, he's found merit.
Oh, he's gone to slap the arms.
Oh, gee whiz.
Not happy about that one, big Daniel Merritt. Interesting to see on the replay. The umpire's right there.
Let's just quickly check in with Lee Colbert while we wait for that.
Tony Armstrong, the Swans' lively forwards, being subbed in, and Alex Johnson, the defender, going out.
So Sam Reid for number 6. Already in uncharted territory. He slots that for his 6th goal of the night.
I suppose the initial reaction was it was probably a bit harsh on Daniel Merritt, but again, Sam Reid was presenting well at the ball, and it was a good kick to him. It was weighted in the right area, and just see here, well, that is a tough one. He has hit the arm, but I think it was a genuine attempt at the ball. So umpire was right there, and free kick goal. So Reid PB with 6 goals and looking very nice. What do you think about that one, Rosie?
Well, I'll tell you what it does, though. There's always that debate about the chest mark, and I know you've played with Brownie a lot, and he's one of the best chest marks. But what you can see there, if you reached for the ball now with the rules the way they are, you're likely to get a free kick. I mean, that was a 50. It looked like he sort of was making a genuine attempt. I don't think he was actually trying to hit his arm. He hit his arm in the context of the spoil. So I guess technically it's still a free kick.
It wasn't like the old Paul Roos drag of the arm.
I used to grab when they were running into the play. But that's why, I mean, you and I have talked about a lot with Brownie, and he's just a super player. And I know Wayne Carey was big on the chest mark as well. We've seen Melcheski, Armstrong's come on, Johnson off. But that's why I've never been a big fan of the chest mark, to be honest with you, particularly the way the rules are now. Reid is long, he jumps, And when you do that and you clear space and you run and jump at the ball, it's very hard for Daniel Merritt unless he gets early body on him, which he does well, Merritt. But on that time, he gave Reed a run into the footy.
Daniel Hanbury, 18 disposals for the Swans tonight. Bolton got the full force. Hudson knew he had to release. Rockcliffe.
Still held him, Josh. Still held him here.
Yeah, I'm not sure Josh Kennedy actually realised that his opponent had got rid of the ball, so he sort of held on to him a bit long in the tackle and threw him around. So Rockcliffe will take the free.
Mark there, can you go 2 metres, please, Daniel? Daniel, 2
Very
metres.
quiet night by his standards. Just 12 disposals and no goals for Tommy Rockcliffe. Averages 27 disposals a game. Kicked 12-9 for the season. 39 for him.
It's amazing how often that happens when you're having one of those nights where you're just not getting the ball in your hand. You finally get a shot and you don't make the most of it.
Slick work by the Swans. Pike and McVeigh. Goes for Roberts-Thompson. It's an open 50 for them. Hardcore free kick. Here and Jack kept on coming to his left. But
Move it on! Play on!
goes short to Hanbury. No, it's got grander plans than that. Reed's down there again. A couple went to ground. Goods was swinging through the front of it. Buick slams it back to the wing. Clean bowled the lot. Bird. Smith. Reverted all the way back to half back.
Switch.
And there it was. For sure. Just can't quite get the run of it, but he's still standing and Redden's not. Look at Armstrong fresh off the bench. Good hassle from Polkinghorne. McKeever.
Brown's out.
Clean-up operation begins. It's getting a little sloppy for Brisbane at the moment. 47 points is the margin.
Hold up, just hold up. Just hold it up. Just hold it up. Hang on.
We'll talk more in this last quarter about the Swans and what they might be able to do come September and where they need to finish. Obviously, top four is everybody's preferred option. What do you think the fact that they have to play their home finals out at ANZ Stadium means? They'd much prefer to play here, wouldn't they?
Look, it's funny. People used to say that to us all the time, but genuinely, I actually didn't mind playing out at ANZ Stadium. And to be perfectly frank, I think the fact that ANZ was developed, this is such a different ground to play on the MCG. You know you're going to have to win the grand final at the MCG, and I think the fact that we had two good home grounds certainly helped us in the 05 season. And I generally didn't mind at all where we played our finals.
Okay, paid to that theory as Rockcliffe goes short to Harwood.
And the Swans, I mean, we'll see a continuation of that great rivalry up against the West Coast Eagles.
What a game.
Next week, which should be another cracker.
Well, I know the Swans are going to have a great gaze going to finals because I think they've got a pretty tough run home. So they play some, you know, they play Hawthorn, they play Collingwood, they play Geelong, they play West Coast Eagles.
Through the middle. Well, it'll get to Malcheski, but he wasn't in a prime position to be able to keep it moving. O'Keefe looking for a free.
I think the big thing when you watch the Swans play now is that they do look healthy. You know, like sometimes you can put a team on the field that's got your best players in, but you look at the team and you go, geez, he looks injured, he looks weary. I think when you're looking at the Swans play at the moment, obviously Goodsy's back now healthy, Mumford's back now healthy, Kieran Jack looks really good. Last year he had some injury concerns. McVeigh is in really good form and looks really healthy as well. So they're a team that's got their good personnel playing, but they also look really up and about when they are playing.
Rich, and that beats the lot of them. Polkinghorne, good tackling from Hanbury. Now Bolton lends a hand. McVeigh, Smith, Kennedy. Been tackled a fair bit tonight, Kennedy. He's a hard man to actually stop completely, though, isn't he?
I'll tell you, he's one of the best around stoppages. You can't bring him to ground. He's so
big.
strong.
Here he is again.
He just gets in there and he's big. He's so big and strong.
And Merritt comes out and takes the mark.
And once again, that was the strong body to get rid of Sam Reid to start with, so some nice work there.
So around they go. Stiller, McKeever, Jonathan Brown pushing hard in the pocket to try and break clear of Richards as his opponent at the moment, but the kick goes shorter than that. Armstrong bends it away from Zorko. Crowd like what they see. You have to pay credit there to Zorko.
A really good tackle because the next 3 players in were Swans players. So the only option for Zorko was get the ball over the line or cause a stoppage. Just give enough time for your teammates to get there.
He's been terrific, Zorko. 26 possessions, 10 contested. He's had a really good game.
This last quarter has been pretty tight, really. Goal
Hold him down,
each.
No, you've got your arms wrapped around him.
And he's only played the 8 games now. So that experience in the local competition has been able to transfer straight to the elite.
Rich to Adcock, brushes a couple aside, gives it plenty down to Brown. That's a trademark effort, but not rewarded by the umpire. I reckon he marked Browning.
I'll tell you, he's close. He's very, very close.
I must admit, I looked away. I presumed that he actually took the mark.
Well, it looked like he controlled it and then maybe bobbled it on the way down. We'll have another look at it here.
Maybe not.
Maybe not, yeah.
Push out.
He's not going to be happy with that, is he?
That's not a free kick. Is that against Brown?
Yep.
Yeah, for a push out.
What?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think Brownie's a little confused. After disputed mark, now the push.
Oh,
He's saying he got him around the back, I guess, in some
gee whiz.
shape or form. Now, Jack versus Harwood. Good little one-on-one struggle. Jack brilliant enough to release, but no, throw. Okay.
On the ball. Hey, out, mate. Quickly, to him.
You don't see that played very often now.
Move it on. Play on.
Harwood, the run from behind from Drummond. Or should I say the walk from behind?
I guess that's the point I was making about Drummond before,
Yeah.
Al. He's not a real cut-through runner, is he? He's an absolutely beautiful kick.
Yeah.
And if he gets the ball around the middle of the ground, he will hit Brownie on lace out. But he's not going to really run and carry the ball that often for you.
The ball carrier is Piers Hanley.
Yeah.
Rockcliffe. Stretching right through Leicester.
And the other one that obviously is out injured, Ash McGrath.
Yeah,
They've missed him,
definitely,
haven't
Yeah, they have missed his.
Yeah.
I mean, at both ends.
Both
I mean,
ends,
that's the thing. He's such a talented player. He's got that speed off the mark that can be a real leading target inside 450. But at the same time, he gives so much run and defensive rebound.
And even young Golby, who's out this week as well, he's been a good player for them, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's certainly come on as well. So there's some certainly talent out of the side at the moment for the Lions.
Rhys Shaw has this all to himself. Take the mark. Hanbury continues to impress. Swift stuff from O'Keefe.
Well, they're set up really well here.
And now they can get it onto the outside, and McGlynn can't really bolt because there's just too many teammates stuck in the defensive half. Some reinforcements arrive now. McVeigh. Slower build-up, but still looks dangerous. Melcheski, Reed trying to lunge and perhaps have an opportunity for 7 goals. Melcheski to try and service him again. Nice little move from Reed, but Rich ends up with it. Into Brown versus Grundy. So he's got to take on a couple here, Brown. It wasn't helped. In fact, he was handicapped by the bounce.
He's got the kick. He's got the push out there.
That might run the evener for the ruck contest.
Might have been. But that was a bad mistake from Grundy to even go close to giving that free kick away when Rhys Shaw was there as the extra. So
I'd like to say it again. It almost looked like Grundy was using Brown to sort of turn around. You know, put your hands on him. Here it is here.
well, it's a push in the back.
Push in the back, yeah. Well umpire. Tick.
There you go. You give him a wrap.
That's why I'm up here commentating their umpire.
Brown, you can see the reverse angle of what's ahead for Jonathan Brown. 2 goals for the afternoon. It's not going to be another. All set up. Who wants to take the mark? No one really. Pike tried to slap it away. Great smother from Kennedy, and he was still able to get a handball out of it. Jetta getting in the road of his teammate.
How do you rate Brownie as a kick for goal? I've seen him play a lot.
From that 50-metre arc,
Yep.
when he's on, we all go through periods when he's on.
Yeah.
He's one of the most fluent kicks for goal from 50 metres. You can hear when he flushes it and it sails through 55 out, no worries. So I reckon that is a strength. He's not one of the all-time great kicks, but from outside that 50-metre arc, I reckon he's a really good kick.
He did flush one against us at the Gabba one day, and they were 6 points down. They ended up drawing. I remember that one.
Let's move on.
Clay Beams. Clay Beams takes the mark in the pocket. coming on as the sub, as we've discussed, after playing half a game of reserves footy earlier on. The reserves game that Brisbane won. Parker got through the game all right, returning from about a month or so out for the Swans, which was good. Brucey?
Yeah, no, he looked good actually. He's a pretty important player for them. The Swans are clearly playing well, but I still think he's in their best 22.
Beams, and that's not going to worry the scores.
Brucey, whilst we're talking about injured players, we saw Gary Rowan down at boundary level before the game. How's he progressing?
Yeah, I think so. The wound took a little bit of time to heal, so obviously that's a concern when you get an injury like that. You want to make sure the wound doesn't get infected. So it took a little bit of time. He looked in good spirits before the game. I didn't have a chance to chat to him, but obviously it's a big injury. But we all hope that he comes back bigger and better than ever. Yeah. And just a cheerio, little mate Fergus Whitney too. Mike Whitney's son broke his leg today playing with my son, which was not good this morning. So from all the Uni of New South Wales boys and myself, Fergus has just had an operation this afternoon on a broken leg.
Yeah, all the best with that one.
Yeah.
McVeigh back to the wing where Brisbane have an extra body, but that doesn't matter because Everett's got the mark and they are marching towards goal. Who dares wins? Mike Whitney might like that. No, I think it's going to go all the way itself. No, Adam Goods gets there first. You would have thought that Jetta might have beaten them all to it. Goods goes back for Jack, hacks the kick to the top of the square, and McKeever works it through to McVeigh. McGlynn, they'll crack in again. Roberts Thompson, Hudson and Beams. One more and they'll be out, but easier said than done. Bit of a fumble from Hanley. Well, he got right back into trouble. Gave it straight to Kieran Jack. Heaves it to the top of the square. McVeigh, but Merritt a hard man to get past.
He just looks really comfortable down there. And again, this is not a criticism because a courageous decision from Michael Voss, but they just, for me, and I don't see them every week, perhaps like you do, Al, they just look better with Merritt in defence.
Yeah, I think that it'll be interesting to see what they do next week, whether they'll go back to pushing him forward or they'll just let him settle down back for the remainder of the year.
A little dish off to Kennedy. They didn't quite synchronise things inside the 50, the Swans that time. It's going to come out and it favours Leicester. He was a little lucky because Hanbury was ready to jump up all over the top of him. Here's Zorko, goes to Brown. Keeps coming, Zorko. Gave Brown a little bit of protection, maybe not as much as he would have liked. Beams and Armstrong, the two subs, competing in the air.
I guess, Al, you played both ends of the ground. I guess get back to a little bit. Is it easier to find a key forward or a key defender? I mean, you did both.
I reckon it's easy to find a key defender.
Yeah.
Well, it depends what they bring to the table, but what we're looking at with, say, Daniel Merritt is that he's a very strong athlete. He's probably not your traditional footballer, comes from a rugby league background, so he's learnt down back. I think eventually, and as we've seen, he can evolve into a forward, but he'll get all his confidence whilst he's down back.
We saw the month ahead there for the Swans. Big game next week against West Coast. Basically top of the table clash.
And St Kilda the week after. Was it Gold Coast after that, and then Carlton. So
it keeps coming for them, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
They just keep answering all the challenges.
And, they do.
And I know you must get frustrated over the years. Everyone is prepared to write Sydney off. Maybe this year they'll be just out of the 8. But they've been able to reinvigorate this list with some really good outside speed, and development of the young kids has been fantastic. So they're in contention, and it's great to see.
Yeah, look, it wasn't ideal, Jolly, going back to Melbourne, but we got 2 picks for him, and Jetta was one of those picks that we used. Identified Gary Rowan. That 1 year we identified, we just had a lack of leg speed. Gary Rowan, Jetta, and then obviously we just got McGlynn. We got McGlynn, Mumford and Kennedy in that one trade period. So it's 5 players. Amazing, I mean, obviously Gary Rowan's broke his leg now, but I suspect he's going to be a terrific player for the future. So it's 5 players in one drafting period that really rebuilt the club. Not rebuilt it because I don't think we're going down too far, but it really re-energised the group.
Carnesis. Hanbury to spoil here over Zorko. Crisp tried to make the march and steal the march on others. It looked like it was scooped out by Brown. Flying snapshot for goal is just a fraction astray.
And I think clearly from a coaching point of view, I mean, John Longmire had a really good lead-in. And I think, I mean, no one knows exactly how to pick a coach now because it's very, very difficult. But John Longmire had an 8-year apprenticeship. Yeah, he was a coaching coordinator for the last 2 years. He dealt with the medical staff. He was going to board meetings, all those sorts of things. So he was really well prepared. And their assistant coaches are high quality. Johnny Blakey's been around. Can't play golf, Johnny, but he's a very good assistant coach. Yeah, we see...
Can't walk on his heels either.
No, doesn't work on his heels. Lee Tudor there. Peter Berbakoff's come back from the Kilda. Stewie Dew. The great Stephen Torbett up the back. Craig Holden is a fantastic match committee member as well. Stuart Maxfield's done a great job. Georgie Stone. So, look... It's a really elite coaching group that they've assembled.
Opportunity for Kennedy. McVeigh, O'Keefe. Shaw fashions the kick along the line, hoping for McGlynn.
And Henry Playfair's the other one that was...
How do you see it for Michael Voss? I mean, we've spoken about certainly the next month with St Kilda, the Gold Coast Suns, then the West Coast Eagles. They only played a few weeks ago, but then the Tigers at the Gabba as well. But what does he take out of this?
Yeah, look, I think he's got to keep developing the young players, and there's no doubt he's doing that. He's committed to that, and I really like his commitment to it. And providing you've got a plan, and it's a really sound plan, it's just a matter of time for Vossi. Now, whether it's another 12 months or another 3 years, there is a plan in place, and it's a pretty clear plan. That's what I like. And I think you mentioned earlier in the game, Al, they've now got a clear game plan, which I like that as well. So he's just got to keep persevering with his young guys.
I think he'd be disappointed with tonight's result. Not exactly the 37th birthday present that he was hoping for, but certainly still some reasonable signs.
All right, the ball back out to the wing. Only 2 minutes 40 remaining. Rich trying to generate a meaningful thrust forward. Swans have still got some extra numbers back, but they're prepared to work around the arc here with a bit of a run-up. Maybe Harwood an opportunity. Dabs it to Brown.
Wasn't meant for him.
Maybe Hanley.
Well, I think the thing is, Alice, the under-18 game is just so vastly different, where most of these guys come from. I've just come back from the championships this week. It's just dramatically different, so it does take a lot of time to develop young players. Not everyone's a Chris Judd that can walk into AFL football. And a lot of these guys are late draft picks for the Brisbane Lions. So it will take time to reprogram from that, just free-flowing, go and get the football style of midfield stoppages that exists. And he'll know, Vossi will know that. And I really like the way those young players are developing.
Certainly to look at the top teams, West Coast Eagles, Collingwood and Sydney. Unbelievably well-drilled teams.
Yeah. They line up here, the Swans. Goods, Hanbury, Jack, all in the mix, but neither could get a handle on it when they needed to. McKeever. And they're out to the wing again. Hanley dabs it along the line to Merritt.
Wait there, Josh. That's him up. Play on.
He's off and going. And no one will stop Hanley in full flight.
But Hanley's had another 33 possessions.
So, and Zorko's coming up for number 30 now.
Yeah.
Don't push him away
Well,
like
I'd
that.
suggest for memory that's a PB.
Yeah. And we know Rotcliffe and Redden are developing. They've fought their way right back in 26 and 20 possessions. So, look, there's a lot to like about Daniel Rich is at 18 and been, effective throughout a lot of the night. So there's a lot to like about the Lions. It's just a matter of time for them, though.
Well, the door opened there, didn't it, for Rains? And it shut just as quickly. So down to the last minute 16 now. It's just academic as what the final margin will be. 47 points as we speak. Little steal. Doesn't go too far. Everett had a little look around, wasn't quite sure what to do with it. Goes for distance in the end. Patfull wins the footy. 50 seconds. Let's see if they can orchestrate something from here. Stiller in his 100th. Cuts the corner a little bit. McGlynn was onto it. Stiller might get another opportunity. Goods has got other ideas to that. Patfull, McKeever. Still the mad scramble continues. Some pretty tired boys out there by this stage. Stiller looks up. And dabs the pass. And now they're advancing against the clock with 16 seconds. Polkinghorne kicks it in, but it's going to come out just as quickly. Bird. Grundy. Out to the wing to O'Keefe. And the siren sounds. And the margin at the end of it all is 47 points. The Swans on top of the AFL ladder in front of 20,000 people at the SCG. They've kicked 16-14, 110 to 9-9, 63.
Yeah, well, it was a really good win in the end from the Sydney Swans. I think they were challenged in the first quarter, and it was a genuine challenge from the Lions. Just towards the end of the first term, those critical errors we spoke about at half-time were the things that really changed the momentum in the game. And from that stage on, some of the real young guns of the Sydney Swans stepped up, and they just put too much pressure on the inexperienced Lions in the end.
Yeah, look, big numbers from some of the Swans. McVeigh, 34, played a terrific game with 2 goals. Joey Kennedy continued his outstanding season with 30. Melcheski, I thought, was a late inclusion for Matt. He was outstanding, particularly setting up the game early. Kieran Jack, really worked his way in the game with 23. Shaw, 22. Goodsey was the big winner too. Yeah, he's kicked 3 goals, had 22 possessions. So just a really, really nice, even performance.
Well, Sam Reid, a career best 6 goals. That was something Michael Voss struggled to overcome. And one of the heroes of the game is down with Lee Colby.
Sam, congratulations yourself. 6 goals tonight, a career best. And as you mentioned off camera, you got a couple going straight.
Yeah, it was good. Confidence has been good. I've been kicking consistently, through training the last couple of weeks in games, so it's good to get a good result today.
You're catching the ball, mate, and that's a real feature of your game. The big high marks. I know plenty of people, the Swans fans are happy, but I'm sure the teammates will be pretty happy when you're flying for your marks.
Yeah, it's helpful when it comes in there that much, and the boys are moving in really quick tonight. We knew we were able to get them out of the back sometimes, so we worked really well.
And the side settling down last week, this game in particular, no changes, but taking on the Eagles next week, it's going to be a big challenge.
Yeah, over there it's always a massive task, and we won over there last year, so we'll take a lot of confidence out of that, but no doubt it'll be a big game.
And what about playing with some of these stars that have been around a long time? Goodsey playing in front of you tonight, it must lift you up a little bit yourself.
It's unreal. I mean, guys like Jude Bolton and Goodsey, they just keep getting better, and that's, age isn't a factor to them, it seems. So, it's great to play alongside them.
Well, you're on top of the ladder tonight. Good luck next week, and all the very best for the rest of the year.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Sam.
From the sky.